And here is Saudi Arabian athlete Sarah Attar making a bit of history by running in the Olympic Games.
19 years old, Sarah Attar became the first female track athlete from Saudi Arabia to participate in the Olympics. Although she finished last, and her achievement seems little, from little things, big things grow.
Hopefully this sparks something amazing.
It's potentially a massive change for how Saudi Arabia's women are represented in society. King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz Al Saud said in an annual address to the Shura Council that women will be involved in the next elections.
Firstly, we have decided on the participation of women in the Shura Council as a member beginning from the next term. Secondly, from the next term, a woman now has the right to announce her candidacy to become a member of the local municipal council.
This is something that will mean that women will bring to the table a lot of the issues that were not discussed before. They will bring a female point of view. They will be demanding certain amendments to laws that have been passed that were not favorable to women or were against women's rights. So I think this is where we're going to see a big change.
Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. It is so nice to be back here. I remember 2 years ago standing in the same spot.
Dr. Hayat Sindhi, from Mecca, Saudi Arabia, is the first woman from the Middle East to obtain a PhD in biotechnology.
Since leaving Saudi Arabia as a teenager, I've been on a journey to become a scientist, based on the greatest scholars I was inspired by as a child. This inspiration is what pushed me so strongly against many odds to work as hard as I needed to be accepted and to study at the world's best universities, including King's College London, Cambridge University, Oxford, MIT, and Harvard. Since childhood, I admired characters who did something for humanity in the area of medicine, literature. So since I was a little girl, I really wanted to be one like them.
Dr. Sindhi is the co-founder and director of Diagnostics, a non-profit fusing biotechnology and microfluidics, dedicated to creating low-cost, easy-to-use, point-of-care diagnostics, designed specifically for the 60% of the developing world that breathes beyond the reach of urban hospitals and medical infrastructures.
We developed many diagnostic tools that from a very cheap material, inexpensive, easy to handle, even for the people who cannot read and write, to monitor certain diseases, like, for example, a liver function test. And what I'm also developing now, how can I make breast cancer can be detectable early stages, because we can save millions of lives of women and make it so affordable.
Another Saudi scientist that is globally acknowledged is Dr. Ghada Al-Motari, Associate Professor at the Department of Nanoengineering at the University of California, San Diego. She successfully developed the first degradable polymer that is capable of detecting extremely sensitive low levels of hydrogen peroxide and other reactive oxygen species. This development is vitally important in the fields of infection and neurodegeneration.
Thank you. So, as my title says, I'll talk to you about the art of falling apart. What I mean by that is we want to control how things fall apart. So over the last, and specifically for...
This can provide cardiologists with a non-invasive method to determine which patients are vulnerable to a heart attack caused by ruptured plaque in the arteries before the attack. Dr. Ghada's work is currently published in the online issue of the Journal of the American Chemical Society.
Supramolecular chemistry, synthetic chemistry, and not so much effort into how do you disassemble things, and that's very important. If you're going to build a polymer, you want to also develop a method of breaking it apart. You can imagine the importance of that in recycling and green chemistry.
Despite what most people think of Saudi women, When it comes to fashion, no one is more knowledgeable about the latest trends and designs than the Saudi girls. Razan Al-Azuni is the perfect example of that.
I always had a thing for art and fashion and making things and crafts with my hands. And when I was a kid, before graduating high school, I decided that I wanted to attend an art school in the US. So I applied to different art schools all over the US. And then I received my acceptance to the School of Museum of Fine Arts, which is an art school that's affiliated with Tufts University. I knew that that was my calling. So I graduated, I moved back to Saudi Arabia, and I started my company, Razan Al-Azuni, which is an international fashion brand. Now I have a mini little factory, well, it's a studio, not a factory, of 14 sewers and beaders. I design the clothing, and we manufacture everything in Saudi Arabia and distribute it internationally. So it is the first Saudi brand that manufactures in Saudi Arabia and distributes internationally. In 2011, early 2011, we've dressed our first celebrity in Hollywood, an actress by the name of Anna Sophia Robb, for the Independent Spirits Awards. She wore one of our dresses, and ever since then, we've had quite a few celebrities in Hollywood that have worn our clothes. Among these celebrities is Juliana Rancic, Emma Roberts wore it, we have Paris Hilton, Kelsey Shaw. We're getting a very good response to the brand, even though the fashion industry is such a new industry to Saudi Arabia in particular. It wasn't an industry that existed, and slowly in the past few years it's been growing, and you can see so many amazing talents coming from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi women are a fine example of modesty and self-respect. They can be effective members to their society, in spite of what they choose to wear. And that takes us to Heba Ahmad, a Saudi writer and blogger that lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
But in the Quran, it doesn't say that women should cover their faces.
That's correct.
It says that they should dress modestly.
Exactly. The term Islam means submission to the will of God. And we believe that our Creator is the one that is most worthy of telling us how to live our life, and that He did enjoin modesty in the Quran. And my understanding is that the minimum requirement for modesty is, for women, is everything but the face and hands. But we also know that many of the pious Muslim women in our history also chose to cover their face as well, and it's an extra step that people can do. And for me personally, it was something that I believe brings me closer to God. It was my way of saying, you know what, this is my empowerment, this is my liberation, because so many times in society, and I think most women would agree with this, women are objectified, they're sexualized, they're used to sell product, their bodies, their worth is in their bodies. And for me, my sexuality is in the comfort of my own home, in the commitment of my marriage. People are just staring because they're curious, because they don't understand. It's not because they're scared, it's not necessarily because they're hateful, but they just don't understand. And in so many ways, it's really pushed me to be more outgoing, to start up conversations with cashiers and with people in the mall. And we end up laughing and having so much in common, and it's really been a door to building bridges and opening dialogue. And so in general, although there may be, you know, a minority of negative reaction, in general, people are really open to wanting to know who I am. America is one of the best place in the world for me to live right now. I could not imagine living anywhere else. I have never lived anywhere else. American values and Western values are tolerance, freedom of religion, acceptance of all, belief that we are all human beings, that we have children that we love, we have the right to live our life and follow our religion in the way that we see fit, as long as we don't hurt others.
People who don't necessarily know enough about Islam will look at you and say, this is such a barbaric religion. She is being oppressed. She's being forced to wear it.
Yes.
I mean, what do you say to that?
A woman came up to me once and she said, "Are you being abused by your husband?" And I said, "That's funny. If you ask him, he might say that I take advantage of him a little bit too much."
Unfortunately, many believe that Saudi society is backward, and that men force women to dress in that way, and don't understand that it's a choice that is related to traditions, customs and modesty. Yes, the Saudi society is not perfect, and women's rights are not totally met. But that's a global issue that faces women everywhere, even in the United States, starting from sexism, equal pay, to abortion.
And I do think the perception among many Western women is that the Middle East is a little backwards, to use the word, that women are second-class citizens. How would you respond to those women?
Just come, and you'll see. We're not backward, we're not second-class citizens. We're very much educated, we're very much respected within our own families. We're very much, we're entrepreneurs, businesswomen, social leaders, interconnected, globalized, multilingual. And when they come, they'll see it. And they don't have to come. We have a lot of, in the CGI where I was at the panel in the CGI, I saw a lot of Middle Eastern women. And I was happy with that representation. I mean, if you just open your eyes, you'll see them around you. And you'll see how powerful women in the region are.
Finally, Saudi women, when given the chance, can go beyond creativity, can stand high, and can prove that regardless of the obstacles you face, your gender, how you look, or what you wear, nothing is impossible.